The crystal champagne flute trembled in my hand as my mother-in-law Helen raised her glass for what felt like the 100th toast of the evening. The Montgomery family never did anything small, especially celebrations. To our dearest Denise, Helen's voice rang across their sprawling living room, whose promotion to senior financial controller proves that when one of us succeeds, the whole family succeeds. I forced a smile, catching my best friend Olive's knowing eye roll from across the room. She'd been warning me for years about how suffocating the Montgomerys could be, but I'd always defended them. After all, what family wouldn't be proud of their daughter-in-law landing a 6-figure position at one of the city's top firms? My husband Damien squeezed my shoulder. You deserve this, honey. We're all so proud. The party was extravagant. Catered appetizers, premium champagne, even a custom cake with "Congratulations, Denise" written in perfect gold script. I should have felt on top of the world, but something felt off. Maybe it was the way Helen kept emphasizing family success, or how Damien's sister Natalia's smile never quite reached her eyes. Speech, Kenneth, my father-in-law called out. Let's hear from the woman of the hour. I smoothed my black cocktail dress and stood. I'm not great at speeches, but thank you all for this incredible party. I'm touched by your support and... Oh, darling, Helen interrupted. You're being modest. Tell everyone about the wonderful opportunities this means for our family's future. Before I could respond, a sharp cry pierced the air. Everyone turned toward the sound. Sorry, Natalia jumped up. That's just the baby monitor. Must have knocked it on while setting up. I'll grab it. I've got it, I said quickly, spotting the small device on the side table. I'm headed to the powder room anyway. I slipped the monitor into my purse, intending to return it later. As I made my way down the hallway, Olive caught up with me. You okay? You seem tense. Just overwhelmed. Helen's being... Helen? Olive snorted. You mean overbearing and controlling? I saw her reorganizing your desk in your home office last week when you were in the kitchen. She means well, I said automatically, though my stomach twisted. She just wants to be involved. There's involved, and then there's whatever this is. Olive gestured around at the party. Did you even want this celebration? Before I could answer, Natalia appeared. Denise, Mum needs you in the kitchen. Something about the cake serving. In the kitchen, Helen and Aunt Jasmine were huddled near the sink, speaking in hushed tones. They straightened up when I entered. There you are! Helen beamed. We were just saying how rewarding it is to support your career for everyone's sake. Something in her tone made me pause. The way Jasmine wouldn't meet my eyes. The slight emphasis on everyone's. What do you mean by that? Oh, you know, Helen waved dismissively. Family takes care of family. Now, about the cake. Later, as guests began filtering out, I helped clear glasses from the living room. My purse sat forgotten on a chair, the baby monitor inside still switched on. As I reached for it, voices drifted through the speaker, coming from Kenneth's study upstairs. Too focused on her career to notice. I froze, Helen's voice crystal clear through the device. Diverting her paychecks to our family fund. My heart stopped. That was Damien's voice. My husband's voice. She trusts me completely, he continued, laughing. Signs whatever I put in front of her. The crystal glass in my hand nearly slipped. I caught it, my knuckles white against the stem. 6 years of marriage. 6 years of thinking I'd finally found a family who supported my ambitions, who celebrated my success. Denise? Olive's voice made me jump. You look like you've seen a ghost. I clicked off the monitor and slipped it into my pocket, plastering on a smile that felt like it might crack my face. Just tired. Big day. But as I watched Damien laugh with his parents across the room, something cold and hard settled in my chest. They thought I was too focused on my career to notice? Well, they were about to learn exactly how focused I could be. I hugged Olive goodbye, already planning my next move. Thanks for coming. I have a feeling I'm going to need your legal expertise soon. She raised an eyebrow, but I just smiled. The party might be ending, but something else was just beginning. I waited until Damien's breathing deepened into sleep before slipping out of bed. The baby monitor felt heavy in my pocket as I crept downstairs to the kitchen. Helen had insisted we stay the night after the party, claiming we'd had too much champagne to drive. Now I wondered if there was another reason. My hand shook as I pulled out the device. Part of me hoped I'd imagined what I'd heard earlier, that it was just party stress playing tricks on my mind. I pressed play on the recorded conversation. She's been so distracted with this promotion, Helen's voice crackled through the speaker. It's perfect timing, really. The new salary bump will help cover Kenneth's debts, Damien replied, and that investment property Natalia's been eyeing. Speaking of properties, Kenneth's gruff voice joined in, that joint account paperwork you had her sign last month? Brilliant move, son! My stomach lurched. Last month's paperwork. Damien had caught me rushing between meetings, thrust a stack of documents in my face. Just some account updates, honey. You know how the bank is with their endless forms. How much have we managed to divert so far? Natalia asked. Nearly 200,000, Helen said proudly. Our little financial controller never even noticed, too busy climbing the corporate ladder. The mug I was holding slipped from my fingers, clattering into the sink. I barely caught it before it could shatter and wake everyone. What are you doing up? I spun around to find Jasmine in the doorway, wrapped in a floral robe. I clicked off the monitor and slipped it behind the coffee maker. Couldn't sleep. Too much excitement, I guess. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Quite a celebration Helen threw you. She's always been passionate about family affairs. Seems like the whole family is passionate about affairs, I muttered before I could stop myself. Jasmine's expression flickered. What do you mean by that? Nothing, just tired. I forced a yawn. Think I'll head back up. Denise? She caught my arm as I passed. Family can be complicated. Sometimes what looks like betrayal is just protection. I pulled away, my skin crawling. Did she know? Was she part of it too? Back in the guest room, I lay rigid beside Damien, my mind racing. $200,000. All those times he'd insisted on handling our finances because I was too busy. The joint accounts I'd barely looked at. The investment discussions I'd missed because of work meetings. My phone buzzed with a text from Olive. You okay? You seemed off at the party. Call me. I typed back, need your help. But not here. Meet tomorrow? Bring your lawyer brain. The response was immediate. My office, 9 a.m, what's going on? Before I could reply, Damien stirred. Babe? Why are you up? Just checking work emails, I lied smoothly. Big presentation next week. He chuckled, pulling me close. Always working. That's my girl. His kiss on my temple felt like acid. You know, Mum was thinking we should have a family meeting tomorrow about the promotion and future planning. Future planning? You know, investments, shared goals, family stuff. His hand rubbed my back in what used to feel comforting. Now it made my skin crawl. There's this opportunity Kenneth heard about. Sounds great. I forced myself to sound eager. But I have meetings all day tomorrow. Rain check. The family's counting on you being there, he pressed. Can't you reschedule? I sat up, finally trusting myself to look at him in the dim light. My husband of 6 years. The man I'd trusted with everything. Actually, you're right. Family should come first. I'll move some things around. His relief was palpable. That's my girl. Mum will be so pleased. I lay back down, letting him pull me against his chest while my mind raced. Let them have their family meeting. Let them think I was still their naive, career-obsessed cash cow. But first, I needed proof. As Damien's breathing evened out again, I carefully reached for my phone. To Olive, change of plans. Need you to look into something first. How fast can you get bank records? Her reply came seconds later. How far back? I thought about Helen's smug voice. $200,000, 6 years of lies. All of it, I typed back. Every last penny. Tomorrow, they'd see the dutiful daughter-in-law they expected. But today, I was going to become the financial controller they never bargained for. I closed my eyes, not to sleep, but to plan. They thought I was too focused on my career to notice. They were about to learn that attention to detail was exactly what I did best. You've got to be kidding me. Brian pushed his glasses up his nose, staring at the stack of bank statements spread across his desk. They've been siphoning money through 7 different accounts. I'd called in every favour I had to get Brian, my old college friend and now forensic accountant, to see me on such short notice. His downtown office felt safer than meeting at Olive's law firm, where Natalia's best friend worked as a paralegal. Look at this pattern, he pointed to a series of transactions. Every time you got a bonus or raise, there's a matching transfer to this account in Helen's name. They didn't even try to hide it well. They didn't think they had to, I said, my voice tight. Show me everything. Brian pulled up a digital spreadsheet. Regular transfers to Kenneth's account, labelled as household expenses, way more than your actual bills. Investment accounts in Damien's name that you supposedly authorised. Even a vacation property down payment. The beach house, my hands clenched, the one Helen said was a family inheritance. Bought with your money 3 months ago. He hesitated. There's more. Someone's been taking out loans in your name. The room spun. What? Through Jasmine's credit union. 3 so far, all with your electronic signature. A knock at the door made us both jump. Olive slipped in, looking grim. Sorry, I'm late. Had to dodge Natalia in the courthouse lobby. She took in my face. What did I miss? Show her, I said to Brian. While he walked Olive through the evidence, I checked my phone. 5 missed calls from Damien. 3 from Helen. A text from Natalia. Where are you? Everyone's waiting. The family meeting. I'd forgotten all about it. They're going to notice something's wrong soon, Olive warned, looking up from the documents. We need to move fast. Already on it. Brian turned his laptop around. I've flagged suspicious transactions, documented the fraud patterns, and started tracing where the money went. But Denise, this is serious criminal stuff. We should contact the authorities. My phone buzzed again. Damien. Honey, Mum's really upset. Please come home. We need to discuss something important. Not yet, I said. I need to know exactly what they're planning first. At least let me file an emergency injunction, Olive pleaded. Freeze the accounts before they can move more money. If we do that, they'll know I'm onto them. I need them to think I'm still in the dark. I stood up, straightening my blazer. Besides, I have a family meeting to attend. Denise! Olive's voice was worried. Trust me. I gathered my purse. Brian, how fast can you get me a complete forensic report? Give me 48 hours, but be careful. People who steal from family can be dangerous when cornered. I thought about Helen's calculating smile, Damien's practiced lies, the way they'd all laughed about deceiving me. I'm counting on it. The drive home gave me time to compose myself. I pulled into the driveway just as Natalia stormed out the front door. Finally! Where have you been? Mum's been calling for hours. Sorry, work emergency. I followed her inside where the family sat around the dining room table. Helen's face was tear-stained, Kenneth looked grave, and Damien jumped up to hug me. "Baby, thank God. We've been so worried." "What's going on?" I asked, letting just the right amount of concern colour my voice. Helen dabbed her eyes. "It's your father-in-law. The doctors found something. The treatments. We need your help, Denise." I watched Kenneth bow his head, playing his part perfectly. Watched Damien squeeze my hand, his wedding ring suddenly feeling like a brand on my skin. "Of course," I said softly. "Whatever the family needs. How much are we talking about?" "The specialist wants 50,000 up front," Helen said. "I know it's a lot, but with your new promotion..." "We've all sacrificed so much for each other," Damien added. "This is what family does." I thought about Brian's spreadsheet, about the beach house bought with my stolen money, about the loans taken out in my name. "You're right," I said, meeting Helen's eyes. "Family sacrifices for each other. Give me until tomorrow to arrange the transfer. I want to do this right." The relief in the room was palpable. Helen hugged me, her perfume suffocating. "We knew we could count on you, dear." My phone vibrated. A text from Brian. "Found something big. Natalia's been skimming extra. They don't know." I hugged Helen back, smiling over her shoulder at my husband. "After all," I said, "what's family for?" Tomorrow, they'd learn exactly what family was for. But tonight, I had some transfers of my own to arrange. "You're telling me Natalia's been running her own scam?" I stared at Brian's laptop screen in disbelief. We were meeting in a quiet coffee shop this time, far from both our offices. "Look at these transactions." He pointed to a series of transfers. Every time money went into the family fund, a portion disappeared into an offshore account, one that only Natalia can access. "How much?" "Nearly 50,000. She's been stealing from the people stealing from you." I laughed, the sound harsh even to my own ears. "Honor among thieves?" "There's more." Brian lowered his voice. "That medical emergency they're using to pressure you? Kenneth's been to exactly one doctor this year for a routine physical." My phone lit up with Damien's face. I declined the call, adding it to the growing list of ignored messages. He'd been extra attentive since yesterday's family meeting, bringing me breakfast in bed, offering to massage my shoulders while I arranged the transfer. "Have you signed anything recently?" Brian asked. "Any documents at all?" "No. I've been..." My voice trailed off as I remembered. "Wait. Last night, Damien asked me to sign a birthday card for his cousin. Said he was in a rush to mail it." Brian's face darkened. "Show me." I pulled up a photo I'd taken of the envelope before signing. Brian examined it, then swore under his breath. "This isn't a card envelope. It's sized for legal documents. They're still trying to get your signature on something." My phone buzzed again. Helen this time. "Darling, we need to finalize everything today. Kenneth's appointment is tomorrow morning." "They're getting desperate," I said. "Good." "Denise," Brian closed his laptop. "These people aren't just thieves. They're professional con artists. You need to be careful." "I am being careful. That's why I'm meeting Olive at the bank in an hour to..." "Denise?" My blood froze. Natalia stood by our table, designer handbag clutched tight. "I thought you were homesick. That's what Damien told Mum." I glanced at Brian's laptop, now thankfully closed. "Just getting some fresh air and coffee with an old friend." Her eyes narrowed at Brian. "Does Damien know you're meeting strange men for coffee?" "Brian's an accountant," I said smoothly, helping me understand some tax implications of my promotion. "Speaking of which, how's that property investment you were looking at?" Something flickered in her expression. "What property?" "The one you mentioned at my party. Unless..." I widened my eyes innocently. "Was that supposed to be a surprise?" "I should go." She backed away, already pulling out her phone. "Feel better, Denise?" The moment she left, I grabbed my things. "She's calling them right now." "Go," Brian said. "I'll get everything to Olive." Just watch your back. I made it to the bank just as Olive arrived, looking worried. Natalia called Damien. He's on his way here. Perfect. I straightened my jacket. Let's do this fast. Inside, I approached the manager's desk with my most professional smile. Hi, I need to discuss some irregularities with my accounts. 20 minutes later, Damien burst in, Helen and Kenneth right behind him. They froze when they saw Olive in her lawyer suit, documents spread across the manager's desk. Honey? Damien's voice wavered. What's going on? Just reviewing some interesting transactions. I kept my voice light. Care to explain why my salary's been going to accounts I never authorized? Denise. Helen stepped forward, tears already forming. You don't understand. Kenneth's condition is non-existent. I slid Brian's report across the desk. Just like the family fund, just like your beach house inheritance. Whatever you think you found, Kenneth started, but Olive cut him off. My client has comprehensive documentation of systematic fraud, unauthorized accounts, and forged signatures. She's prepared to press charges unless certain conditions are met. Damien reached for my hand. I pulled away. Baby, please. We can explain everything. Explain what? I met his eyes. How you've stolen over $200,000 from me. How you forged my signature. Or maybe... I turned to Natalia, who had just rushed in. How about you explain your private offshore account? The colour drained from her face. Helen whirled on her daughter. What is she talking about? I don't. Natalia's voice cracked. Mum, she's lying. Actually, Olive interjected, we have proof of everything, including the loans taken out in Denise's name through Aunt Jasmine's credit union. The manager cleared his throat. Should I contact the authorities? That depends. I stood up, facing my husband and his family. Are you ready to talk about paying everything back? Or should we let the police handle this family emergency? The silence that followed was deafening. In it, I could hear everything crumbling. My marriage, their schemes, the web of lies they'd spun so carefully. And honestly, the sound was beautiful. The loans were Helen's idea. Jasmine's voice crackled through my phone speaker. After the bank confrontation, she'd called me in a panic. She said you'd never notice that Damien had everything under control. I sat in Olive's office, speakerphone on, recording everything. And you just went along with it. They promised me a cut, said it was just temporary, that once Kenneth's investments paid off. She broke down sobbing. Helen's my sister. I trusted her. Like I trusted my husband? My voice could have frozen hell. How many other loans are there, Jasmine? Silence. Jasmine? 2 more, she whispered. Approved last week. Helen said it was urgent. Olive scribbled something on her legal pad and slid it across the desk. She's lying. Bank shows 4 new loans. I want copies of everything, I said into the phone, in every document, every email, every text, or you'll be the first one I press charges against. You can't! I'll lose my job at the credit union. Should have thought about that before committing fraud. After she hung up, Olive leaned back. That's 3 family members turning on each other. Helen's empire is crumbling. Speaking of Helen, I pulled up my messages. Dozens from her, each more desperate than the last. The latest caught my eye. We need to talk. Alone. Come to the house tonight. Don't, Olive warned. It's a trap. Of course it is. I grabbed my coat. That's why you're coming with me. The drive to Helen's house was tense. When we pulled up, I noticed Damien's car in the driveway. Remember, Olive said, don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything and keep recording. Helen opened the door before we could knock. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide her red-rimmed eyes. Denise, thank God. Who's this? My lawyer, I pushed past her. Where's Damien? Here. He emerged from Kenneth's study, looking haggard. Baby, please. Can we talk privately? Nothing's private anymore. I entered the study, where Kenneth sat slumped at his desk. Where's Natalia? Gone, Helen spat. Took off after your little bank ambush. Won't answer her phone. Probably busy moving money from her offshore account. Kenneth's head snapped up. What offshore account? The one she's been filling with money stolen from your stolen money. I pulled out Brian's report. Want to see the transactions? This is ridiculous. Helen stepped forward. We're family. We can work this out without lawyers and accusations. Family? I laughed. Is that what you call people you steal from? We didn't steal, Damien protested. We were investing, building a future. With my money? Without my knowledge? You were too busy with your career to handle the finances properly, Helen said. We were protecting you. By forging my signature? By taking out fraudulent loans? That was, Helen faltered. We needed emergency funds. For what? Kenneth's fake medical condition? The beach house? Or Natalia's shopping sprees? Silence fell. Kenneth looked at his wife. What beach house? Not now, dear. Helen's voice sharpened. Denise, be reasonable. If you press charges, it'll ruin everyone, including yourself. Think of the scandal, your career. My career. I stepped closer. The one you said made me too busy to notice you robbing me blind. That career. Please, Damien reached for me. We can fix this. Together. I love you. I pulled away. You love my paycheck. Enough! Helen slammed her hand on the desk. What do you want? Money? We'll pay you back. Just stop this madness. Oh, you'll pay me back. I nodded to Olive, who pulled out a document. Every penny plus interest, and you'll sign confessions detailing exactly what you did. Or what? Helen's eyes narrowed. Or I send this evidence to the police, the credit union board, and your country club committee. How's that for family loyalty? Kenneth grabbed the document, scanning it. Helen, how much did you actually take? Don't sign anything, she snapped, but he was already reading, his face growing paler. 200,000? The beach house? Natalia's account? He looked up at his wife. What have you done? What? I had to, Helen screamed. To keep this family afloat. To give our children the life they deserve. Children like Natalia, who stole from you too. I pulled out my phone, showing them the transfer records. Face it, Helen. Your perfect family is a house of cards, and it's falling down. Damien sank into a chair, head in his hands. Dad's medical emergency. Was that even real? Ask your mother, I said coldly. She seems to be the expert on family emergencies. The study door burst open. Natalia stood there, mascara streaked down her face. Mum, the bank just called. They're freezing all our accounts. I smiled. Now, that's what I call a family emergency. The foreclosure notice is real this time. Kenneth slapped a stack of papers onto the dining room table. 3 days had passed since the bank confrontation, and Helen had summoned everyone for another emergency family meeting. No more lies, Helen. We're losing the house. That's impossible. Helen's perfectly manicured nails drummed against her coffee cup. What about the investment returns you promised? There were no returns, Kenneth's voice cracked. I lost everything in the market crash. The money we took from Denise was keeping us afloat. I sat silently, watching their world unravel. Olive had advised against attending this meeting, but I needed to see this. We still have the beach house, Natalia suggested weakly. The beach house we bought with stolen money? Damien snapped. Great plan, sis. Maybe we can sell it to pay for our legal defence. Don't you dare blame me, Natalia shot back. At least I didn't steal from my own wife. No, you just stole from all of us. Helen's voice dripped venom. Your own family. Enough. Kenneth slammed his hand down. Denise, please. There must be something we can work out. I pulled out a manila envelope. Funny you should mention that. What's that? Helen's eyes narrowed. Everything. I spread the contents across the table. Bank statements, transfer records, loan documents, forged signatures, even emails discussing your little schemes. Damien reached for the papers, but I pulled them back. The originals are with my lawyer and the police. You called the police? Helen went pale. Not yet, but I will, unless you all sign these. I produced another set of documents. Full confession, complete repayment plan, and a restraining order keeping you away from me and my finances. This is extortion, Helen hissed. No, this is karma. I met her eyes. You have 1 hour to decide. Sign or I press charges. We don't have the money to pay you back, Natalia wailed. The beach house sells first, I said coldly. Then Helen's precious jewellery collection, Kenneth's golf club membership, your designer wardrobe, Natalia, everything. And what about me? Damien's voice was quiet. Where do I fit in your revenge plan? I finally looked at my husband, the man I'd trusted, the man I'd loved. Divorce papers are in there too. You get nothing. Baby, please. Don't baby me. I stood up. You watched them steal from me for years. You helped them do it. What kind of husband does that? The kind raised by wolves. Jasmine's voice cut through the room. She stood in the doorway, clutching her own stack of papers. I brought what you asked for, Denise. Every loan document, every email, even the ones Helen doesn't know about. Jasmine? Helen jumped up. What are you doing? Saving myself. Jasmine dropped the papers on the table. The credit union's investigating. I'm not going down for your schemes anymore. The room erupted into chaos. Helen screamed at Jasmine. Natalia burst into tears. Kenneth stared at the foreclosure notice like it might change if he looked hard enough. 1 hour, I repeated, heading for the door. Sign everything, or I call the police. Wait! Damien followed me onto the porch. What happened to us? To our love? Love? I turned to face him. Love doesn't steal $200,000. Love doesn't forge signatures. Love doesn't laugh about deceiving their partner. I can change. You can sign the papers. I stepped back. That's all you can do now. Back in my car, I finally let out the breath I'd been holding. My phone buzzed. Olive checking in. They're turning on each other, I texted. Just like you predicted. Coming over with wine, she replied. You'll need it when the signatures start rolling in. I looked back at the house. Through the window, I could see Helen gesturing wildly, Jasmine shouting back, Natalia sobbing into her hands. The perfect family shattering like glass. My phone buzzed again. Brian, this time. Bank confirms accounts frozen. They're trapped. One last text came through from Damien. I never meant to hurt you. I just wanted to make my family happy. I typed back 4 words. You succeeded. They're thrilled. Then I blocked his number, started my car, and drove away from the house I'd once thought would be my forever home. They had 1 hour to sign their confessions, to admit their crimes, to face the consequences of their actions. And if they didn't, well, I had a police detective's number ready to dial, and 6 years of evidence to share. Let them try to talk their way out of that family emergency. 58 minutes. That's how long it took for my phone to ring. They're signing, Jasmine's voice trembled. But Helen, she's not herself. You need to come back. I glanced at Olive, who was already grabbing her keys. Don't let them leave. Don't let them move any papers. When we pulled up to the house, a police car sat in the driveway. I didn't call them, I said, confused. Kenneth did. Jasmine met us at the door. After Helen tried to burn the evidence, inside, the dining room had become a war zone. Papers scattered everywhere, Helen restrained in a chair by a female officer, mascara streaking down her face. Kenneth sat with his head in his hands, while another officer took his statement. "You ungrateful bitch," Helen screamed when she saw me. "After everything we did for you." "Mrs. Montgomery," the officer warned, "please stay calm." "She destroyed our family," Helen thrashed in the chair. "We gave her everything." "You gave her nothing." Jasmine stepped forward. "You took everything." Natalia huddled in a corner, frantically typing on her phone. The male officer noticed. "Miss, please surrender your device. We have reason to believe you're attempting to move funds." "Too late." Brian appeared in the doorway, laptop in hand. "The offshore account's already frozen. Interpol's involved now." "Interpol?" Natalia's phone clattered to the floor. "Mum, you said nobody would find out." "Nobody was supposed to." Helen's voice cracked. "Denise was supposed to be too busy, too trusting, too—" "Stupid," I finished for her. "Sorry to disappoint." Damien stood by the fireplace, staring at the half-burned papers the officers had salvaged. "Dad, did you know about all of it?" Kenneth looked up, suddenly aged a decade. "I knew about the initial transfers, not the loans, not Natalia's account, not—" He gestured helplessly at the chaos around us. "Sign the confessions." Olive placed fresh copies on the table. "It's your last chance to avoid criminal charges." "You can't prove anything," Helen spat. "It's our word against—" "Actually," the female officer interrupted, "with these documents and recorded conversations, we can prove quite a lot." One by one they signed. Kenneth first, hand shaking. Natalia next, tears splashing the paper. Jasmine had already signed her statement at the credit union. Damien hesitated, pen hovering. "Think carefully," I told him. "Your next signature is either on that confession or on arrest papers." "I really did love you," he whispered, signing. "No," I replied. "You really didn't." Helen remained defiant. "I won't sign anything. This ungrateful girl comes into our family, takes my son, focuses on her career instead of giving us grandchildren, and now—" "Mrs. Montgomery," the male officer stepped forward, "we have enough evidence to arrest you right now for fraud, theft, and conspiracy. Your choice." She signed. "The beach house sells first," I stated flatly. "Then everything else. Every penny paid back." "Where are we supposed to live?" Natalia whimpered. "Should have thought about that before stealing from your own family fund," Jasmine remarked. The officers began gathering evidence, taking statements. I watched as the perfect family facade crumbled completely. "I've contacted the credit union board," Brian told me quietly. "They're pressing separate charges against Helen and Jasmine." "The country club committee wants a statement," Olive added. "Apparently, Helen's been running similar schemes there." "Let them handle it." I turned away from the scene. "I'm done here." "Denise, wait!" Damien called after me. "What about us, our home, our marriage?" I faced my husband one last time. "Our marriage died the first time you forged my signature. Our home was built on lies. And us." I pulled off my wedding ring. "There is no us. There never really was." "But I can change. We can start over." "No, Damien, you can start over in a smaller house, with a regular job, without access to my money." I dropped the ring on the table. "Consider it a divorce gift." Helen started screaming again as I walked out. Natalia was crying about prison. Kenneth was asking about lawyers. But for the first time in days, I felt at peace. Olive followed me to the car. "You okay?" "No," I admitted, "but I will be." My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Brian. Final tally, $238,456 stolen. All accounts frozen. Recovery process starting tomorrow. Want to get drunk and burn wedding photos? Olive offered. I started the car, watching in the rearview mirror as the officers led Helen out in handcuffs. God, yes. The perfect family was perfect no more. But maybe that was exactly how it should be. Final sale price, $800,000. The realtor handed me the beach house closing documents. Quite a profit, considering the market. Karma's profitable these days, Olive remarked beside me. We watched the new owners drive away, their moving truck following close behind. My phone buzzed. A news alert about Helen's sentencing. 8 years for fraud and conspiracy. Kenneth got 5, with possibility of early release. Natalia took a plea deal, trading information about other family schemes for a lighter sentence. Jasmine lost her job but avoided jail by cooperating fully. And Damien? He signed the divorce papers without contest, disappeared to another state, and last I heard, was working as a bank teller. Irony's funny that way. Ms. Montgomery? The bank manager approached with another stack of papers. The funds have been transferred to the restitution account. Would you like to review the distribution schedule? Send it to my lawyer. I nodded toward Olive. She'll handle the details. Walking out of the bank, I felt lighter. The money was back where it belonged, with interest. The perfect family's perfect facade had crumbled completely. Justice, as they say, had been served. Ready for your speech? Olive asked as we drove to my office. I smoothed my blazer. As ready as I'll ever be. The conference room was packed. Every financial controller and executive in the company waited to hear about my new fraud prevention initiative. Brian stood at the back, giving me a thumbs up. Thank you all for coming, I began. Today, we're launching a program I wish had existed years ago. One that might have saved me from losing $200,000 to my own family. The room went silent. We're calling it the Trust But Verify Protocol, because sometimes the people closest to us are the ones we should trust the least. Phones came out recording. This wasn't just another corporate presentation. This was a warning, a lesson, a survival guide. My husband forged my signature. My mother-in-law orchestrated elaborate schemes. My sister-in-law stole from the stolen money. And I'm here to make sure it never happens to anyone else. After the presentation, my boss pulled me aside. The board wants to fast-track you to CFO. Your story, this initiative, it's exactly what the company needs. I thought about Helen's words at my promotion party, about family success, about how desperately she'd wanted to control my career, my money, my life. I accept, I said, but I have one condition. Name it. The Trust But Verify protocol goes company-wide, no exceptions. That evening, cleaning out my home office, I found an unmarked envelope in my mailbox. Inside was a single sheet of expensive stationery. Helen's perfect handwriting instantly recognizable. You think you've won. You think you've destroyed us. But family is forever, dear. And revenge works both ways. Sleep well. I should have been scared, should have called the police. Instead, I laughed. The doorbell rang. Olive stood there with wine and takeout. Behind her, Brian juggled his laptop and a stack of files. Found 3 more accounts, he announced, settling at my kitchen table. Hidden under shell companies. Want to freeze them too? Already done, Olive smirked. Called in a few favours at the DA's office. Helen's sentence just got longer. I handed them Helen's note. They read it together, exchanging glances. Should we be worried? Brian asked. About what? I poured the wine. A prison threat from a woman who couldn't even hide her fraud properly? Who trusted her daughter with stolen money? Who thought I was too stupid to notice my own bank accounts being drained? Fair point. Olive raised her glass. To karma. To karma, we echoed. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Mum says, "You'll regret this. Family protects family." Natalia, still trying to play tough from her minimum security cell. I typed back, "Funny? That's exactly what I did. Protected myself from family." Then I blocked the number, just like I'd blocked Damien's, Helen's, Kenneth's, and every other Montgomery who thought they could threaten or guilt me into silence. "You know," Brian said, reviewing the files, "with all the recovered money plus interest, you're actually better off now than before. It was never about the money." I took another sip of wine. It was about trust, about truth, about learning that sometimes the family you choose is better than the family you marry into. Olive raised her glass again. To chosen family. Outside, a car alarm went off. Probably Natalia's flying monkeys trying to scare me. Let them try. I had security cameras, a restraining order, and most importantly, nothing left to steal. To chosen family, I agreed, and to never letting anyone else write your story for you. The perfect family was gone, but in its place, something real had grown. Something honest, something true, and that was worth every penny they tried to steal.